to know that kind of gave us the 3 points was the best thing about it. And obviously to get another goal.
You have to say that, but I bet it wasn't.
Honestly, it actually was. I'm not even going to lie. Because if anyone scored, I would have been buzzing because I knew, we've won the game now. And that's what all the fans want to see. They want us to win the game. And that goal killed it off. And the fact that it was a decent goal made it even better.
He's get awarded by his work ethic. He is somebody when he's on the field, he will give you everything, and he can score goals. As a young player, I think he's been developing quite really well. But what he needs is, of course, to play games and to keep developing himself. And this football club will give him that chance, and he's improving.
The performances this season have been absolutely fantastic, and we've deserved more in certain games. But I think we managed the game really well today.
The reaction of the Everton fans to the substitution would have been disappointing, I guess.
It's impossible to explain every decision. Richarlison has a problem in his calf, and then we knew, and then we were trying to protect him at half-time. And he said, no, I want to carry on, but we knew that he was injured, or he could have a bigger injury, and without Calvert-Lewin available, so we cannot take this risk.
Poor afternoon for Everton. We'll come on to that in just a moment. Conor Gallagher was sensational today, and actually, he was part of a partnership that dominated Everton, both on and off the ball. We'll look at it off the ball in a minute with Glenn. But together, Gallagher and Jordan Ayew were sensational.
Yeah, and when you start to get your form correct, you need your superstar players, along with Zaha. Other players have got to contribute as well. And I thought that Gallagher and Ayew were outstanding today. The way that they found each other on and off the ball. I mean, this is just a couple of sighters. This is early on in the game. This is Ayew going through. He should really score. His standards are a lot better than that. His finishing's better than that. But he's just getting into the groove. And then you've got Gallagher there in that little pocket. Again, bit of a sighter, long way out, but he's just getting himself warmed up. And then they started to find each other in the game. Down this right-hand side for Palace, left-hand side for Everton. They were very, very positive. Edouard's got to put his head in there and score that. Here we go again. Look at this. Look over his shoulder. And again, he just leaves it in that space. He knows that Ayew's got the pace. He knows that he can get himself into a good goal-scoring position. And they're forcing Everton to defend very, very well.
Gallagher never stops moving.
No, he doesn't. He doesn't. In possession or out possession. Now, Damari Gray makes a mistake here, but look at Conor Gallagher. Free as a bird. Ayew's thinking, let me find my teammate. I know who'll be in a good position. And he puts it in the back of the net. And this again happened in the second half, where Gallagher found so much space. Ayew's out wide right, and he just placed it into his gut, into the space. I like the way to pass as well.
Yeah,
Gallagher. Way to pass is good. He's telling Ayew, take a touch or take it first time or find me again. Again, look at Ayew. All he's thinking about is getting that ball into a dangerous area. I thought he was outstanding with his partner, Gallagher, as well.
They linked up 29 times today with the ball, but their work ethic without the ball as well, as a duo, had to be admired.
Yeah, I think as forward-thinking players as they both are, it's easy to go one way, Dean will tell you that. I mean, that's the enjoyment part of it. But going the other way is a completely different story, and they did it brilliantly today. And it epitomised everything that Crystal Palace were about, I think, on the afternoon. We see Ayew here back, trying to dribble out, not giving up when he's getting tugged on. I mean, he probably could have went down and got a free kick there. He decides to carry on. Gallagher's right next to him, fighting for the ball, and ends up, he gets chopped down by Decore. Again here, comes on the blind side of Gray, wins the ball back for his team, but doing the dirty work.
You love this, don't you?
This is brilliant. This just, it's everything good about Palace for me and Ayew on the afternoon. I mean, look at this run here. He's covered 70, 80 yards to track back and tackle his former teammate, Townsend. I mean, but that spreads throughout the team. I mean, look here, we can see them. They're hunting in packs. They've been a real duo this afternoon. And we can see they force Everton into a long, hopeful ball down the wing there. And then we see Gallagher doing his bit, tracking Godfrey back. Brilliant tackle in the end up. And we see here, Ayew just checks his shoulder. He wants to play. First thought, can we go forward? Can we attack? And then the best, save the best for last. 92nd minute. Not happy. Look at his reaction. He's frustrated to give a free kick away. Seamus Coleman, a rush of blood to the head into Ayew. And who is it? Conor Gallagher closing down and rips that shot right into the top corner. And I mean, Selhurst Park just erupts. And what an afternoon for Palace. And you know what? they've suffered a lot of consolation goals in extra time. But today it was their turn to score in extra time and really put that game to bed.
Yeah, the fact they saw it out was a big boost for them. The other thing that we all said whilst watching that game, and also whilst watching Conor Gallagher's post-match interviews, is it's impossible not to love him. He's infectious, and because he evidently loves playing football. And sometimes we don't see that often enough, actually.
Yeah, no, I don't think you can help but smile when you watch Conor Gallagher's interviews. He just seems like a genuine, nice, humble kid. And it's people like that. For me, when I see him out on the pitch, he tries his best and he seizes that opportunity. I think a lot of lads sort of step into the Premier League and they're a little bit cautious and they want to save face, but he just gives it everything. And if he fails, fair enough, he tried his best, but at the minute, everything is going so right for him.
Everton will feel quite rightly that they ought to have had a foul in the build-up to Crystal Palace's goal. They didn't get it, and you would argue that whilst they were unlucky in that sense, they should have defended the corner better.
Yeah, without a doubt. Maybe they should have done, but, I mean, the goal is defended terribly. They've got 3 there in zonal, and they've got 4 markers. Now, there's 4 Palace players, 4 Everton players. You must have your man. Godfrey has to have Tompkins at the far post. Godfrey completely loses the ball. He possibly gets unsighted, but you cannot have a player behind you when you are marking 4 on 4. You've got to do your job on your man, and he got done by Tompkins.
Let's say half the box was left empty,
well,
wasn't it?
Got to stop that.
Rafa Benitez gave the explanation for why Richarlison was taken off. He said it was a calf injury. I mean, there is no doubt that Richarlison looked fuming at being brought off. Would you say the general demeanour of Everton this afternoon was one of unhappiness?
Yes, it was, but this was the sort of the final straw, I think. I mean, any player, Dean will tell you, when you get brought off, you want to send a message to the manager that you're unhappy, but to do it in this style and these circumstances, he looked very sulky, and it's just not a good feeling to have around the camp, is it, Dion?
No, you can't, be unhappy, but when everybody can see it, when the fans can see it, and the players can see it, the manager can see it, I think it's a little bit disrespectful to the manager.
They're in I mean, they obviously beat Arsenal on Monday night, but when you look where they're ranked in the Premier League at the moment since October the 1st, you know, all the stats, if you're an Evertonian, are utterly depressing at the moment.
Yeah, and it started off so well, didn't it? The balance was so right, but that's what happens when you lose a goal-scoring Calvert-Lewin. And I feel as though Rafa Benitez spent his summer getting the creativity for Calvert-Lewin in Damari Gray and Andros Townsend, and it all started so well. The balance was right. Decore was pressing from midfield, but you lose that focal point and it all goes out the window.
See, when you haven't got number 9, that's what happens.
Well, fortunately, I've got 2 with...
I just wanted to get a little bit nervy towards the end. Was that the perfect way to settle it?
Yeah, definitely the perfect way. I feel like it was a fantastic performance from...
He just looks like he is clearly enjoying life right now.
Why wouldn't he be?
Yeah.
His fans are singing his name. He's having the season of his life at senior football. He's just scored an absolute pearler to seal the deal for his team for 3 points. I mean, life's good, isn't it, if you're a Gallagher?
Absolutely. It's a good point, actually, that was made in that interview. The fans have taken to him like he's one of their own.
Yeah.
But he's a Chelsea loanee.
No, he's a Chelsea loanee, but he's different to all the other players at Palace and perhaps different to some of the players they've had on loan. He's a player that can see the pass, make the pass, and he can nick a goal.
Yeah.
As I say, I saw him first at Charlton a couple of seasons ago. Then he went off on loan to Swansea, and then a season with West Brom. And I think he's found the right place to be. Because I think Patrick's saying to him, you go out and do what you're good at, and we'll do the defensive work if we have to, but you get in between the lines, and if we can get you the ball, I expect you to do something with it. And if you give it away, don't matter, carry on and try and fashion some chances for us. So, no, he's flying at the moment, and you can see his face. He's just so happy with it all.
Absolutely. 6 goals already to his name. In fact, in many ways, do you think he's got the ideal manager? Patrick Vieira, someone who knows how to play in that position.
Exactly what I was thinking. What a better midfield mentor could you have than someone who's won everything, both internationally and domestically, who's played in all those different positions in midfield, who's been the captain, who's got all the leadership characteristics. So everything about what Patrick Vieira was, yes, they're different types of players and have skill sets slightly differently, but Vieira will know everything, has the full textbook of what it is to be the full comprehensive midfielder. And he's got him every single minute of every single day to ask any questions on, to grow as a player, as a professional footballer, as an adult, in every capacity. So he's thoroughly enjoying it, learning. And, I mean, he's been their go-to player this season, no doubt. And Patrick Vieira, I feel, is building his midfield around Conor Gallagher.
Yeah, and a word on his attitude as well, because he works so hard, and when it doesn't pay off, you don't really see him sulking.
No, but I think when you look at his running stats, which they all do now, he'll be up there with everybody else. So he's the all-round player at the moment. And, you know, and getting the exposure and getting the experience. And if he does get an opportunity at Chelsea, he's got to make sure he's ready for it. You don't want to go in at Chelsea and come back out again. You want to go in at Chelsea and stay there. And that's what his aim is, by gaining all this experience in the Premier League.
Yeah. Well, let's have a look at the story of the second half, because Conor Gallagher's first goal meant that Palace went in at the break 1-0 up. The pressure was on Everton. In the second half, Rafa decided to change things around. Solomon Rondon came off for Richarlison. What about his response to being substituted here, Rachel?
He does wear his heart on his sleeve, doesn't he? Richarlison. Rafa's clearly disappointed because he wanted him to sprint off. His team needed a goal at this point to get back into it. And clearly Benitez's outlook was he needed a more direct sort of target up top to bring on Rondon. But you don't want... You can't defend him for that long that he's a young player. He's been a Premier League player at Everton now for, I think this is, what is his third season, fourth season. Yeah. He knows what it takes. He knows... He needs to have an empathy as to what the team's currently going through. It's hard time.
Yeah. He knows the camera's on him. You know, he started playing up as he's coming off. Then he sits down in the dugout. He knows full well the camera's going to start him for a little while.
But what about the Everton fans' response? Because they then started singing against Rafa.
It ignited them, didn't it?
For Richarlison.
Because he's got the problem with the left back, who should be playing, but something's going on there. So he's got a couple of things going on at the moment, Rafa. Discipline, what he's trying to get out of his team, the attitude. And all that's done now is fired up the fans, as you're saying. Once that started, they could see that. The fans are unhappy anyway, so then they started giving it to Rafa.
It's the last thing his manager needs. Would you be furious if you were in his position?
I wouldn't be happy.
Does that show of lack of respect for the manager?
Yeah, it wasn't that bad. No. But there's no need for it. They know that Rafa's under pressure. He's under pressure for all sorts of reasons. And maybe one of the main one is because he was a Liverpool manager. Not perhaps what's happening on the pitch so much, because they've got injuries and etc. But that doesn't help.
Yeah.
On top of one thing after another, and the performance again, that doesn't help when you see that, because that's going to be picked up. That's going to be picked up by the Evertonians.
Well, what also didn't help is minutes after going off, Palace then went 2-0 up.
Yeah, so that compounded sort of Rafa and Everton's misery, especially in the manner of the goal. It was really, really poor. You're looking at it from a defensive... It's got 4v4 there. It should be simple. You've got Rondon as an extra cover of header. All Godfrey's got to do is keep checking his space. What he doesn't do, Tompkins is there, he's got square onto the ball, he's not checking his back shoulder. There's a wide full-back, that's constantly what you've got to do on corners, free kick set pieces. He leaves it open, and it's the simplest of early Christmas presents for Tompkins. He's not scored in a couple of years. Criminal, it's a split-second lack of concentration. And I think Godfrey had a good game, and in some ways he had the energy and the fire that Everton fans wanted to see.
Yeah. You gave Tompkins his Premier League debut. He didn't score many with his feet, does he?
No, he's a good player, actually. Yeah. And as the commentator said, he's had a lot of injury problems. But Rafa prides himself on his defensive work, and he'd be distraught with things like that going on. You know, that was a really poor goal to concede.
Yeah. I just wonder how satisfied Rafa would have been when Solomon Rondon came off the bench.
Well, I saw someone who wasn't happy. I saw someone who wasn't happy. Richarlison sitting behind him. Because he see that and went, blimey. But no,
it worked for Rafa.
They got back into the game, didn't they? They got back. Very similar, a bit scruffy. It's a really good ball from Coleman.
Yeah, it is.
But the way it falls to him is a bit like Tompkins' goal. It comes to him, look, just got to poke it in. And they're back in the game, Everton.
Yeah. But he's an 18-yard box player, 6-yard box player, and Rondon, he'd want to be there for that target. He does really well to hold the ball up, lay it off, and instinctively, you know, turns to goal and ends up just poaching it. I mean, would Richarlison have scored that? Probably not, because he wouldn't have been in that kind of highest central position, back to play and instinctively spinning and running in. Would he have took a crash on a post? Maybe not either. So, you know, in the end, Benitez will not be happy because his team got convincingly beat on the day. But I think his players just need to buy in 100% and show solidarity to the fans that they are behind him.
Yeah, but that goal could quite easily have been a turning point for Everton, because they found a gear and an extra couple of gears to get into. Both Townsend and Gordon had decent chances.
They did, sorry to interrupt, and it quietened the fans down as well when they were starting to sing some songs about Benitez. Godfrey here has the tenacity to do that. Against Rondon, back to goal, lays it off well, does really well, and Townsend just gets his shot blocks. You can see what Rondon's trying to do there, just set it up. That was an important chance. And this one, oh, I mean, when that gets cleared and Anthony Gordon gets on his right, brought on, I think it was for Delph, brings a bit more energy and pace down there, lays it off, lovely little setback, and all of that space. Does he make the right choice or here? Looking at the edge, Decore's there, Gray was there, cut it back. Because when you get closer and closer to the goal, you've got the goalkeeper, tight angle. It's a really good save, good sharp save by Gaeta, but I think the decision, raw, not many Premier League chances.
Yeah, I was just going to say, is that inexperience telling?
Yeah.
Well, it was. I mean, he's run so far and he's got himself into a goal-scoring opportunity. He just didn't have enough about him to lift it over the keeper. He's put it along the foot, and to be fair, it's the place where the keeper wants it. He can get there, but he can't get there. And he managed to get his save. It was a good save in the end.
What was it from Everton that managed to get them back into the game at that point?
Probably Gordon as well. You know, a bit of energy, a bit of purpose. I think before that, they was passive. As a team, passive. And the fans are sitting, they want a bit more. And it wasn't aggressive enough. He sent them out early for the second half. You know, because obviously that demonstrated something. That told you something. They come out about 3 or 4 minutes before Palace because he wants more and he ain't getting it at the moment.
But then, of course, Conor Gallagher then capped what was a fantastic individual performance with his 6th of the season. And as he said, without any real reservation, this was probably the best of the lot so far.
Yeah, bizarre one from an Everton point of view as well. Free kick from Coleman, spins it, but you can't take anything away from that finish. Once Conor Gallagher, you see here, Coleman, free kick, puts his foot on it. Is he trying to get a yellow card by the player stood over it? Whichever, or is he just trying to clear it long? We're not quite sure. Either way, it backfires because you don't want Conor Gallagher 25 yards out with time to have a touch to his right and pick his spot. I mean, that's got to be pinpoint up and down to get over Pickford from there. He's at full stretch. I think slightly mistimes it, tiny bit. I think if he'd have got up a little bit earlier, he'd have been at full height when the ball was at full height. But, I mean, you're taking... I'm picking at minutiae that Pickford would be looking at.
And that's a great way to finish a game. If you're Palace,
absolutely,
you can enjoy the next 30 seconds. But it's the crowd erupted, and when he gets going at Palace, it's a fantastic atmosphere.
Couldn't take the smile off his face, could you, Conor Gallagher at the end when he was being interviewed? It's great.
Perfect, wasn't it?
No, neither could Patrick Vieira. In fact, we can hear now from the Crystal Palace boss.
Patrick, quite simply, was that a lot more like it?
He was a really good performance, a really good team performance. We played well. We played some.
Be delighted with Crystal Palace.